This mutation is called Barrier to Entry, and it is being played on Lock and Load. We have 3 mutators active. We have Just Die, we have Barrier, and we have Mineral Shields. So, this mutation, basically the most difficult part of this mutation is the Just Die mutator. This gives enemies basically twice the amount of HP and twice the amount of energy that they would normally have, which does make it a little bit tricky. Mineral Shields is a little bit annoying, but that can be addressed as long as you have reasonable minimap awareness, because whenever the Mineral Shields spawn, they actually give you a little ping on your enemy bases to see, on your bases to see that, there's a Mineral Shield in the position. So all you need to do, as you can see here, the Vorazun is doing, you put that on the pylon, you put down a piece of static defense, and you can actually clear out the Mineral Shields reasonably quickly. It does impact your economy obviously a little bit, but it's not as bad as if you were just to ignore it completely. Barrier also makes the enemies a little bit tankier. It does make it a little bit more annoying to deal with, and I have played on Brutal Plus difficulty with Barrier, and when you're dealing with large numbers of enemy units that have low amounts of HP, but just high enough such that they cannot get one-shot by your abilities, it does actually make them significantly more tanky. You see here there was a ping here on the minimap, and there's a Mineral Shield in this location. Now in the early stages it's not that bad, but that can actually significantly negatively impact your economy if you were not paying attention. But that is what dealing with a mutation is. So we do have now a bunch of Dark Templars available for Vorazun, and Vorazun now will be pushing through, trying to attack through these rocks over here. Put down the expansion as well, because this game will be a little bit longer than expected, and you will see why in just a little bit. We're now at the 3 minute and 30 second mark, and the Dark Templars now will just be moved up here to try and clear out these enemy units. So we can see that we're dealing with Terran, which is again one of the not very pleasant compositions, and we're dealing with a Shadow Tech as well, which appears to be everybody's favorite composition to play against when they're playing Terran. And you can see here how the barrier is actually keeping these units alive. There is a secret missile of these Dark Templars, but not really that important. And now we have a time stop that is coming out. And a time stop on Lock and Load is one of the ballsiest things a player can do. So this is something I want to talk about because I don't think I have mentioned this before. But if you were to time stop on this mission, what happens is that the enemy AI wakes up across the map. So some of you might be aware that there is an enemy base on this side near the top left. There's an enemy base here near the bottom right of the map. This base is basically dormant, so there are no units being produced out of the production structures. You'll see barracks and you'll see factories and starports, but there's no production that occurs there. No units are really being produced, except to replace the ones that are already lost. But there is a bug on this map, or feature, I don't really know however you want to describe it, but currently what happens is if you time stop on this map, the enemy bases actually wake up and they start producing units. They start producing battlecruisers and Vikings and all sorts of other units, and they will start aggressively pushing the locks. So what's happened right now is because time stop was triggered, those bases now have woken up and they will start producing units, and they will start to actively capture these locks. Now this one was captured for a different reason. This is because the Hyperion had pushed into here, and over here was because those Banshees started pushing in, and this one will also get capped at around 7 minutes because the enemy base on this side, the barracks over here, it normally produces units at around 5.5 minutes, and the enemy units will move towards the 6-minute mark to start pushing that lock. So that's going to be normal. But the rest of these locks now will start aggressively being captured by AMON's units, and that is where it's going to be a little bit tricky. Raynor is having a few problems dealing with some of these units here. That Marine is not going to be too long for this world, with a bunch of science vessels that are starting to aggro over here. So this is the capturing I was talking about earlier. This is from the barracks that were over here. This is very normal in the mission. At 7-minute mark, they will start to cap this lock. It's standard. This is not a time stop related thing. So 2 of these Marines do get picked off over here. You can see the number of science vessels now that are being created, and this is not going to end. This is just going to be a really, really crappy, annoying mission. Ravens over here combined with the Just Die, and some Marines that are getting killed off by a bunch of siege tanks and secret missiles as well. You can see here Ravens as well on this side. this is not going to end. This harassment from Amon is just going to be completely nasty. And this is why you generally do not want to time stop on this mission. So this is what happens when you time stop. Bad stuff happens to you on this mission. One of which is, especially if you're dealing with Terran, you start getting harassed by ravens and science vessels and battle cruisers and all sorts of nasty stuff here. You can already see there are a bunch of science vessels on here. And again, this lock is also being captured over here. So now there's just a note, I think, about the Zolnaga construct that's available. And you can see here, Banshees and the science vessel causing too many problems for these allied commanders. And now you can see here that there is another lock that is going to be captured with mineral shields, and there's an attack wave that's coming up towards the side. And there are a lot of Reapers, but they decide to turn around for some reason. Oh, no. They'll start attacking this side, but now there's a time stop. And Caligon has decided, you know, I do not care if this is going to get worse and worse. These Marines are moving actually really fast. Insane. Anyway, we have a nice Banshee airstrike coming down. That takes off the Just Die stacks from these Reapers, but these Reapers have to get cleared up as well. Remember that there is Just Die active on this mission. And again, lots of Ravens, lots and lots of harass here from these units. And now you can see these locks are starting to get captured as well by Amon's forces.
Our allies' base is under attack.
The commanders will actually have to try and hurry up as well. There's again a science vessel causing a few problems here with the Irradiate onto Vorazun's army, and again on here with a bunch of Banshees. A total of 4 of these locks have already been captured, and time is running short here because this thing is going to start. The lock overload now is going to start increasing in rate. Every single lock that gets overloaded by Amon does increase this gain by a lot, and it's going to be a bit of a problem. But again, you're dealing with a Terran composition, which is just completely nasty. You see a bunch of SCVs as well moving into position to try and prepare, because SCV is not going to last very long. Again, another Dark Templar does get irradiated by the science vessels. Again, some more irradiates coming down on these science vessels. Look at how many science vessels are there now in this area. Causing a lot of problems for the commanders over here. And again, these Dark Templars are trying to face against the onslaught. Now there's a barrier protection here. And now there's another Just Die that refreshes this thing's HP. And again, now we have a Hyperion that's being dropped here just to try and push through these enemy fortifications. As you can see, lots of enemy units have just parked themselves around this area. And now we have Banshee airstrike as well in this location. So I think this lock will now get captured. This is the first lock that has been captured by the players. So they are moving reasonably slowly, but what can you expect given these circumstances? They are there. And now we have another attack wave that's coming up, and now we have 2 attack waves being spawned. So this is the first of the double attack wave spawns, and this is usually why you want to try and clear this mission out as quickly as possible, because getting this double attack wave can be a little bit of a problem. Black Hole, unfortunately, the Yamato cannon was already used, otherwise that would have been really valuable for the commanders. And now there is a small fire bat over here, or a hellbat? It's a fire bat that is causing a little bit of harassment. These players over here. And now this attack wave will be moving towards the central lock. Raynor's army is in position. Unfortunately, Raynor has been pushed on the back foot a little bit. He is lacking a lot of the minerals that he needs because he's just been getting harassed throughout the course of the mission, thanks to the time stop from Vorazun. Vorazun now has decided to build some more stalkers here to just counter the air part of the Shadow Tech composition over here, and this lock now has been captured by the commanders with 3 more locks to go. The rest of these locks are going to be a little bit more difficult to push into because they are all completely defended and they've never been pushed into before, and the enemy fortifications have not been weakened in the allied commanders. You can see there's a large Shadow Tech wave over here, Seeker missiles coming down onto these armies over here with Vorazun stalkers on the back line. They were going to be able to deal with a little bit of this, but now there's a Thor over here. And you may ask, Shadowtech doesn't have any Thors, and yes, Shadowtech do have any Thors, but this is what happens when you time stop on this mission. You just get a bunch of harassment 24/7 throughout the course of this mission until you rage quit. This is why I'm actually starting to think, like, if I should mention this, I should have actually mentioned that this is a bug, but now people are just going to start trolling their ally 24/7 on the random queue doing this now. You hit your ally, this is what you do, just time stop on this mission and pretend like you didn't know what you were doing, and this is where bad stuff happens. But there's now a nice time stop that comes down, and the ally commanders are able to completely push through this enemy base here, and they'll be able to cap this lock without too many problems. But now again, you can see that there is a lock that is being captured over here. There is nothing over here, but still this lock was getting captured, and this is what happens when you have time stop. You just have a bunch of science vessels being produced, and they will be moving and trying to cap all locks randomly. So you will need to actually put down static defense if you decide to do that. We get another Raven over here, which is going to be a bit of a problem. And that whatever was there has moved out of the location for something else. And now there's an attack wave that's coming up as well. But again, this will be a double attack wave, so that's the second attack wave that has come up. And I do not actually know what the attack wave direction is, because usually I've done this mission at this point in time. And now we have a bunch of nukes that are coming down with a bunch of liberators and stuff. So this is basically that being taken care of. There's a nuke on this side. There's a ghost on here, but I think the nuke might actually end up going down because just die actually ends up causing that ghost to respawn, and that is basically the end of that. And now there is another nuke that's coming up here, but I think that was basically the ghost dead. No, there's another ghost causing a little bit of harassment here. There are a lot of problems here for these allied commanders. They're getting completely shredded by Amon's army, and Amon is actually well on his course to winning this game. And yeah, there we go. There's another ghost over here. This is actually kind of amusing. This is kind of like a rock slapping champions episode with two very competent players playing. And now there's another nuke on this side, which is, again, I'm being very entertained by this. I don't know if you are, but I am. There's a nuke coming down, and now there's another nuke as well that ends up coming down on Raynor's bases, and Raynor is not very happy right now. There's another ghost as well over here. A bit of another problem because he might actually end up nuking these cannons over here. And now this lock is also being harassed by Amon's trickle spawn thanks to the time stop that was cast. You can see a bunch of science vessels over here. There's so many science vessels on this map. Really wish there was a way of seeing how many of Amon's science vessels have been killed throughout the course of the game, because there is actually a lot. And now the Hyperion has been used again, and now he's going to try and soften this side. Just take a look at the enemy forces that are there on this lock over here. We have another Banshee airstrike again coming down. Yamato cannon just trying to remove these just die stacks, so when the next push comes up, it'll be a little bit easier to push through. And now we have another time stop, and now there will be a little bit of good damage output from these Banshees and a bunch from these units over here. They're going to try and blink through and just clear out these enemy units. Just die makes these things so much tankier because you have to kill each unit twice, and you don't really appreciate it until you realize that everything is doubled. Every single enemy unit counts as 2 enemy units, and that is what makes it really difficult, because doubling the amount of enemies in an attack wave, people always look at the late stages of the game where they just completely shred the attack wave. But you have to consider the early stages of the game where you're just trying to balance out your economy with your army. That's where it gets really difficult, and now this attack wave is going to be moving towards Vorazun's base over here. Again, now these mineral shields will end up getting cleared up, and then we have a very nice black hole from Vorazun over here. Blink forward to try and get these stalkers to be able to push and attack, and now there's a stim forward as well from Raynor. Raynor being volley blocked by these units here. Now his army is actually reasonably strong now to be able to completely shred this attack wave. This attack wave here will be trying to cap this lock, and I think they'll be able to get that as well. See a bunch of bunkers over here from Raynor, and now he's also putting down some missile darts to stop the harassment from the science vessels that are being spawned by here. And unfortunately, there's another nuke on this side. There's a scan. He does end up cleaning out that ghost. He's having none of that anymore. And now Raynor is actually starting to ramp up to a point where his army is reasonably well-sized enough to be able to hold here. Unfortunately, there's no scan onto these Banshees over here, which is a bit of a problem. There's another scan now. He has enough energy to do so. Ends up cleaning up these Banshees. And now there is that the remnants of the last attack wave? I think it might be the remnants of the last attack wave. Lots of Seeker missiles coming down onto this army, but now they are ready to go with Vorazun's time stop, about 85 seconds away from being
allies are being attacked.
Yeah, so that was just basically that one brother here. Again, you can see just harassment. Yes, look at that side vessel moving back and forth. It wants to move forward, gets hit by the photon cannon, moves back because it's getting hit by the photon cannon, wants to move out of the way. It's like ping-ponging between the two. It's interesting. Now there's another ghost over here as well. Is he going to nuke? Nah, he's walked right into the middle of those cannons. He's not going to last very long over here. And Vorazun has intercepted the ghost, having none of that. And now we have a bunch of sieged up liberators as well. Some of these probes are getting killed off by these liberators, but that ends up getting cleaned up by Vorazun's army. And now Vorazun has black hole aside. Blink forward as well to just deal with the rest of these attack waves. And the Raynor army as well in the back line here, just dealing providing the extra damage output for the side. This game is a complete slugfest. There is a ping now onto the eastern lock. So these commanders will start pushing through. Lock overload is getting very high right now. They need to try and end this mission as quickly as possible because this can get very nasty. And you can see the harassment over here from Amon. Time stop is ready and good to go, so they're going to do a pincer attack here once time stop comes down. And Raynor's army now again is very terrifying. Just makes a beeline straight for the hybrid Dominator because he knows that Dominator is pretty much the highest value unit in that enemy base here. And they're just going to start pushing through. You can see how just quickly they just steamroll pretty much everything over here. Now the time stop has worn off with a very nice black hole timing after that, ends up catching all the units inside around that lock over here. And now we have a bunch of nukes coming out here. Unfortunately, the bunker is a little bit out of range, and now we have another emergency drop of Marines over here and killing off that ghost before that nuke comes down. And that is the 4th lock that's going to be captured by the allied forces, and that'll be able to slow down the lock overload reasonably well, give them enough time to be able to handle the attack waves and deal with this next side. But that is not the end of the mission, because now we have another nuke coming down, and Raynor is going to try and get this ghost. I don't know if it's going to be enough. His army just gets completely hit by the nuke over there, and now this command center is on fire, and the ghost runs away as well to go and nuke another time. So they are going to try and intercept this attack wave because this attack wave was trying to cap this lock. They'll be able to clean up that side. I think there's a ghost over here that's going to try and end up taking out that command center. It's going to go. Oh no, ends up sniping that SCV, which is a bit of a problem. And now he ends up killing off that ghost. That command center is still on fire. I don't know if that command center will end up going down. It is burning down though. It's burning down reasonably quickly. And now there is another nuke onto this side, but this thing has been aggroed by the cannon, and now Raynor's army as well is in position. Yeah, that SCV was killed off. I don't think Raynor is paying attention. That command center is going to end up burning down unless Raynor realizes that this thing is on fire. I don't think he has realized it. They are trying to push through actively on this side now, and there's a black hole to try and trap the rest of these units. They're going to go for the artifact here over here, or the Xel'Naga construct. And yeah, this command center is going to be going down, which is unfortunate for Raynor because that is a very important part of his economy. And that is that command center gone by that ghost nuke. That ghost has gotten a kill directly while he was dead. And then the value, there we go. There's the Xel'Naga construct cleared out. Again, a bunch of mineral shields. Again, mineral shields not really too much of a problem anymore. And now we have another ghost creating another nuke on this side. And I don't know if Raynor has realized that there is a nuke over here. No, he has not realized that nuke is going to go and just completely one-shot some of these supply depots. And this bunker is now also on fire. And this bunker is going to be cleared out. Unfortunately, they're still trying to handle the harassment from the Amon's army on this side. Again, a bunch of Battlecruisers, and there is also a bunch of Liberators on this side. And they want to try and push into this last enemy base here. It's going to be a little bit of a problem because there are a lot of enemy units that are parked right on top of that ramp. But time stop is ready, and that'll be what they'll be using to get into position. And notice how they use the time stop as soon as they're all on top of the ramp rather than time stop when they're on the bottom. You want to try and maximize the efficiency of those time stops. So that is what they are doing over here. They're going to try and just unclench Amon's fists from this lock over here. And there are a lot of enemy units here, a lot of Battlecruisers, and they have a lot of HP too. So, especially with the just died Mutator, that makes it very difficult. But Raynor's army is pretty much strong enough now to be able to deal that kind of damage output, especially to these armored units. That is the last lock that is going to be captured, almost there. And I don't know if any of the other locks could get captured, so this is pretty much the end of the game. This is the two allied commanders, and they have managed to push through and get triumph over Amon over here. And this ghost, I think, might also end up getting its nuke off, but that last lock has been captured. And is the nuke gonna go down? Oh, it's totally gonna go down. Yes, the nuke has gone down, taking up Vorazun's Dark Pylon, but Vorazun doesn't really care because those are all 5 locks captured. And that is GG.